Hey guys. Ugh. We're here to talk about the Challenge All-Stars Season 2, Episode 3, and the disaster, the downfall of anyone's appreciation for Ayanna. What the bleep? Like, I can't. I want to.
Two people really just like annoyed me this episode, and that was Tina and Ayanna.
Yeah, Tina will do that, but that's nothing off of who she's always been. Ayanna was barely on the show before, so I don't remember what she was like then. And then so far, she was different. And I was like, listen, she's giving me bipolar. She's giving me like major power trip. And then I was like, you know what? I need to see something. And I was like, oh, I think today is her birthday or tomorrow. Like, she's a Sagittarius. And I was like, okay, yeah, I see that. But it's like Sagittarius with like narcissists. So I don't know. It's weird. Her personality.
Her whole like perception was like completely different the second episode. Like I was like, oh wow, like this is someone who's like, she didn't come off that way, especially with the whole moment with Leah. I'm like, now all of a sudden you're like picking fights with people just because they don't.
Now I'm looking back at that moment with Leah and I'm going, okay, like MTV did a good edit with that. That's part of the things. I wonder if they're like gave her an over the top nice edit to make it this much of a contrast, so we would be talking about it. And I'm sure that's like a part of it, but it really is so different. Even her confessionals, like her energy is different. But it's like, I also just look back on that moment. I go, at first I was like, oh, that's admirable. That's, that was a touching moment. Like, that was really cool of her. Like, awesome. And now I look back and I go, oh, you selfish son of a bitch. That moment was not for Leah. That moment was for Ayanna.
Mm-hmm.
That moment was for Ayanna to look good, and she was already feeling good. So she needed to like, just like, and here I am, this amazing person. Like, now it just seems so disingenuous. Is that the right word?
Mm-hmm.
It just feels very phony. Like at first I thought that moment like would come across phony, and then I was like, no, this is kind of touching. I like this. And now I'm like, it was phony the house.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rich Lux. Phony the house.
I don't know. Now I'm not going to be able to watch that episode like the same way after I've already seen her. So that basically is where we start, is Ayanna is braiding Sophia's hair, but I guess in a way that triggers Sophia in that
from a childhood trauma
trauma of how her hair was braided when she first came to the US, and like it was just not a good situation for her. And then Ayanna took it personally, I guess, and was like, why are you asking me to braid your hair if you're gonna get like triggered by it? And it just became this whole big issue,
right? And they didn't cover it super well.
No.
So it was hard to know exactly what happened. And I could understand being like, okay, she asked me to braid her hair and now she's like crying and flipping out on me. What the hell? But then also on the other aspect, like something that's very traumatizing and you get triggered, I don't know,
always have control over, and you also don't know how you're going to respond until something happens.
Exactly. And then also I'm wondering if she was so triggered that like she didn't do a good job in that moment explaining to Ayanna, like, I'm triggered right now. It's not really you. It's like trauma,
It seemed like a really big miscommunication, because like when that was like the whole like episode storyline, I was like, why is this like, I feel like this shouldn't be that big of an issue.
But then, and I was like, okay, and then it's blown up. And then also I'm like, Ayanna was getting way too like mad about it. Like, if this is your
friend, took it too personally.
Yeah.
Whereas Sophia got over it like pretty quickly, and like Ayanna still was like making jabs and like weird comments, and
she took it to another level and literally and went from a miscommunication with her friend to literally having a vendetta against this person because what you guys disagreed for a moment. Like, listen, if you can't disagree with your friends, talk about it and come back. Like, these were never your friends, which is clearly like the conclusion that Sophia has come to. And I don't know, maybe Ayanna is probably just, you know, I don't think she was seeing it clearly. I think she was thinking in a revenge mode. I think later any decent human being would look back and be like, maybe I took it a little too far. Like, you probably would still agree with yourself if that's how you really felt, but you'd be like, oh, I probably could have been like not that evil about it, you know, but it was weird.
Yeah.
And it's very ugly and gross behavior throughout the whole episode by Ayanna towards Sophia, but just even in general, like, read the room. There wasn't
her attitude was just like crazy.
I listen, guys, I have the life shield, so it ain't gonna be me.
I'm like, okay, cool. Like, we all were there. We didn't miss that.
1 week. And it's also like, you want to, like, you don't want to need to even use that, right? Because it's only 1 week. If anything, you want to use it on somebody else so that they would want to use it on you a week when you need it. You would have been cool if you didn't turn around and be a dick all episode.
It became very like, okay, I'm not saying Ayanna's a bad competitor. Like the opposite. My problem is she took this one moment she had, and now all of a sudden she's like the coppiest person like in the world. And I'm like, how are you out showing Nehemiah right now? Of like, Nehemiah was pretty relaxed this whole episode for the most part.
Doing all right. You're not irritating me. And then here comes Ayanna. I said, damn, if it ain't Nehemiah 2.0. But worse.
Really, like, switched. Ayanna was like
mean. She was, I don't know, mean-spirited.
Nehemiah is just more like too intense about things. Whereas like this was like personal. And I'm like, it's not that deep, especially like you're not the one that should have been offended, like personally. It should have been Sophia.
Around. And it said a lot about how Sophia responded to a lot of it, about who she is as a person, because couldn't have been me. Mm-hmm. Whether I'm going in and coming back or going in and going home, you talk to me like that, you act like that, all right, cool, we're gonna let you power trip. But like, I'm not just gonna say it is what it is. I'm gonna say, I mean, I think you're a bit, but you know, let's go. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, you know how you have like secondhand like embarrassment?
It felt really like cringeworthy and like a anger. What are you doing?
Like, it was like, you know, nobody like you right now, right? But I don't think she was like, listen, I'm top dog, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I was like, okay, are you TJ now? Do you make the rules? Like, she was like, okay, it's on me, I'm making the decision.
I know that. Okay, well, let's get to that. The daily challenge is
so annoyed with her.
There's two separate teams. I think it was like black and gold or something.
Well, it looked like blue and yellow to me, but I think they were black and blue.
I don't know. Two teams, and Darrell and what's her face, Tina, are the captains of the one team, and then Ryan and Ayanna are captains of the other.
Yeah. So now what they've done is they've also, besides the life shield, gone back to, at least for this challenge, have two team captains. And then when you are a team captain, if your team wins, you're safe. In this version, you are also the one nominating. If you lose, you automatically go in.
Yes.
So it's a double-edged sword, and it's always an interesting thing, but they brought it back, which I like. I love that they're doing that. So that's what we got for this challenge, at least.
Mm-hmm. Also, like, really quick, there was like a moment with Ryan where he like borrowed Jasmine's, like, there, if you've seen like TikTok trends or like anything. No,
Tina brought it.
Tina?
Yeah, she brought it as like a gag. She said she brought some.
There's like dissolving shorts where like the seams like gradually like dissolve in the water. So the daily challenge is just to in like pairs, you have to run and go grab like huge puzzle pieces, put the first puzzle together, and then you move up and you do a second puzzle,
which is above, and you have to jump into the water and get pieces and bring it back. So the first pieces are farther and you're running for them. The second pieces are closer, but they're in water.
Yeah.
And yes, essentially 2 puzzles, and you have to work together 2 giant puzzles. I really liked this challenge. I was like, they're working them, and I like it. It was almost like giving me final vibes.
Yeah. And
in aspect.
And Tina was kind of
just yelling at everybody. Yeah.
Yelling at everyone, but like it seemed to work.
Can't help herself.
And then Ayanna was also doing the same thing. And it ended up that Darrell and
the male team captains were like, okay, like we're gonna do this, and I'm gonna, and they're just in helping. And it's like the female team captains were like, okay, I'm the one that just yells and tells people what to do now. I don't have to do work. It was weird. Mm-hmm. It was weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
And even talk about in the beginning, like the teams were like huddled up talking like real quick, kid, this is what we're gonna do. And Ayanna, this is when the power trip really first starts.
I know someone was like, oh, maybe we should, and Ayanna was like, no, like that's what's gonna make us lose. And I was like
I'm not done, I'm talking. Like she didn't even acknowledge what the person said. She was like, please, like, stop talking. I am speaking. It was
very just like,
what's her name?
No one is having any respect for you after like
Johanna. How do you say her name?
Janae.
I know how to say her name, and every once in a while I have these moments where I can't say it. Okay. Janae was the one that was like, okay, yeah, cuz, and she's like, I'm talking. Okay.
Yeah.
And she's trying to give this like motivational, like it was almost like she was trying to give like this motivational speech, but also telling people what to do. But then the minute someone was like, yeah, no, definitely if we work together, like it's good. No.
They also like weren't talking about a strategy. Ayanna was just like giving them like a motivational speech. And I think Janae was like trying to be like, oh, so okay, so like if we do this, and Ayanna was like, no, like I'm not done talking. And I'm like, okay, well, we only have like, a little bit of time to talk about a strategy. So like enough with like the motivational stuff. It's like, I get it. You're the one that's putting your butt on the line, but you also have a life shield. So like, I don't care.
You're not really putting your butt on the line at all.
So anyway, Darrell and Tina's team win. It
was pretty close. They both did well.
Yeah. I mean, I think there was like a moment for Darrell and Tina's team where they kind of just like clicked, and like they were able to like flip the puzzles on the bottom, or like the pieces on the bottom, and it just kind of like worked out for them.
Yeah.
Also they have Jody on their team.
I know, Jody's such a beast. And then also she was just like, okay, when it came to the water part, she had this amazing strategy. She was like, I'm gonna go in and push the puzzle pieces all closer to the front so nobody else has to really come in the water. Oh my God, why did nobody else think about this? The other team didn't do that. They were just like, scrambling.
Mm-hmm.
So that helped too. Having a better that saves you a lot of time.
Yeah, and I think that's something that you don't really get with like the newer episodes of the challenge, where like
not really
kind of doing stuff, and like maybe every once in a while someone will come up with like a unique strategy, but like I don't know. I want to talk about that also later, like Devin's little tweets about like, I'm going to lay out all the facts about my contributions to my team.
We'll just do a separate video about
just like, I'm sorry, that just reminded me of that. But
we'll
anyway,
do a separate video real quick, little video, because we got to talk about it.
Ayanna basically, like, I guess, nominates herself to picking someone because she has the life shield. She's like
I'm safe. Okay.
I'm the one that like put my butt on the line. I'm like, you didn't put your butt on the line. Like this was like a freebie for you. So why are you nominating yourself to pick Sophia because you have a vendetta against her? Like it was so like annoying to watch. And then like if I was Sophia, I would be like losing it. But the fact that she was able to just like
I was like
kind of take it, and I was like, I would have been so irritated.
Better person than me, because and not even that, it was like the fact that nobody else said anything. I understand, like you don't, especially if that person is probably going in, like you don't necessarily want to put your neck too much out on the line, because if they go home, you know what I mean, like they're not coming back and really doing you know, making anybody else upset. But it was also like, I didn't understand why the whole team was like, actually, you know what, can we just vote? Like, I think it's more fair if we vote. And then Ayanna could say what she wants, but I'm pretty sure TJ could be like, y'all got to figure it out, or, you know, whatever. Like, there was no rule that said Ayanna is the only person that gets to say anything because she has a life shield. Like, it was weird. It's like, you can't make up your own rules. You're not, no, like, stop. And the fact that nobody said anything, people didn't agree with it and were pissed. I think there were some girls that was like, they didn't agree with it, but they were also like, listen, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to go in.
Mainly Janae and Jasmine.
Well, I think they just, because they had a conversation with Sophia where she broke down what happened beforehand. So they were just like mind blown that this person took such a situation with somebody that was supposedly their friend and is doing all this right now. Like, damn, like, the devil got nothing on you, girl. And she says, I'm giving you a gift.
Oh, I forgot that comment. She really was just like on something this
giving episode. You a gift. You know, you can go in there and show your girl, you went against the weakest girl on the show and won. Yes, she did good, but I'm gonna literally let's just say it. Leah was probably the weakest girl on that show. So
she
yes,
didn't even open up the lock. Like, are we really serious right now?
Oh, yes, you were pulling that stuff, but you were basically going against yourself. Like, it wasn't like you really dominated a person that was really trying and like a threat. Like, I can't. And I feel like she was really like, her way of saying like, I'm giving you a gift was like her trying to be like, now you can go prove yourself like I did and you could get a life shield. But she's also like, but I also don't like you, so I really hope you just go home, because like, how dare you get upset with me? You're done. Girl. And like, so the way she said she was so blunt and mean. Like, she wasn't even just like, yeah, like, this is what I'm gonna do because I feel this way. She was just like,
it was to be petty and to be like,
I'm giving you a gift.
It was so weird.
It was so gross.
We move on to the second bit of drama, which is
Darrell wanting to like punch the wall.
It's Darrell and Tina who have to figure out who they're nominating. I feel like Darrell was like a little bit too like lax with Tina. Like, he literally
a bit more stern with her. Yeah, he needed to be like,
I was like, what are you doing?
Like, I was here last season on this show and last season on the regular show. Like, I've been here. You're gonna just piss the wrong people. Like, this is not how we do it. Like, yeah, you could do it that way, but like, no.
Just before Tina and Darrell like go to talk about who they're gonna nominate, he is talking like with his like roommates. So Kohada, MJ, and then Janae. And he's like, none of you guys are gonna be thrown in. Newsflash, they got thrown in. So this is what I'm like, okay.
You shouldn't have said that.
You should have like either fought way harder than you did, or just like tell Tina like straight up, like, I told them I'm not putting them in. They are in my room. Like, that's all three of the people I told aren't going in. Like, I'm sorry, you need to like pick someone else.
Yeah, because did you promise anyone anything? Doesn't sound like it. I did. Like, we're both the winners right now. We have to work together. Like, you can't sabotage just me. That's not fair.
And she said she didn't want to put in Steve for like there wasn't really a reason. It was just like, I don't want to put in Steve.
No, he's like, why?
You barely know him.
And then Tina's like, okay, let's just close our eyes a bit. He's like, no, Tina, no. And then they eventually do basically do something like that. It comes down to like,
he he puts both of them in the sand and she ends up picking
the wrong one.
Kohada.
Yeah.
And it ends up being Kohada, MJ, Janae, and Jody.
Yep. As possibility to go up against Sophia and Ryan.
Yeah. So then we go, everyone starts to see like who's nominated. Obviously, MJ and Kohada are like, Darrell, what was that?
What the fuck? And they didn't show the part where Darrell talked to them, but I know Darrell had to talk to him and be like, dude, Tina made that almost impossible. Like, because he had to have explained himself, but they didn't show that part at all. But there's no way that he didn't talk to them at all because they weren't as mad at him as they should have been.
Well, I think they know Darrell's not the type to do that, especially like
proven that he's loyal. He's not, this is probably the first time I've ever seen him say something and it went the opposite, but it didn't go the opposite because of him, but it's still.
Yeah. And Ryan immediately is kind of like, okay, well, I'm not going to go up against MJ because I went home last time I went up against him. So,
and that's what Jay said too. He said, last time that I was on this show, I went up against Ryan and I was really mad and I went way too hard on him. And that's the one thing I don't want to do right now at this time is like have a redo of that. Cause he's literally like 3 times the size of him. So if it was going to be a like head to head, like there's almost no hope.
It also wasn't even Ryan's fault, really. Like it was just like Ryan was the one that was going up against him.
Yeah.
So obviously Cohuta's, pretty small. So Ryan's like, okay, well, I have a better shot against him.
He's small, but he's scrappy.
He's what?
He's small, but he's scrappy.
Yeah.
He is. He'll go in there and like, you'd be surprised that like some people he'll beat or come really close to that you thought he had no chance with. So I understood why he's like, I'd rather have him than MJ off size at least, but also like, don't underestimate Cohuta at all, ever.
I really like Cohuta. He's just like
he comes across the same as he used to, just like a good old boy.
He's just so nice. And like, I mean, we see later, like his performance in the elimination, like was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
In terms of the female nominations, Sophia's kind of like, listen, I want to go, up against Jody if I'm going to go up against someone because she's a legend. She's, a beast. And like, I think, Janae basically was like sitting back and was like, go ahead.
Well, I think Sophia did do that one because like, okay, if I win, that's amazing. If I lose,
I went out against Jody.
And I'm closer with Janae, and I just don't, at this point, I have like so many emotions going on with other things and the way I'm being treated and whatever that like, I feel like she was like, I can't go against her. I will rather kind of sacrifice myself and give this a go.
Yeah. And because of those explanations, everyone pretty much votes Cohuta and Jody. There was like 1 or 2 stray votes. I don't remember who.
They must have been like, either they did that because they were like, I don't want Jody to feel like she totally got voted, even though everyone knew why. It wasn't because like they wanted Jody in. It was like to honor like Sophia in that moment and whatever. But it was weird. There was a couple votes. I don't know.
Yeah. And we get to the elimination.
Well, so it comes to Cohuta and Jody are voted in against Ryan and so.
And the elimination I thought was pretty cool. I don't know if they've done it before.
It was similar as like, the last like other things that we've had where it's like, it doesn't have to be like, you're not really going against each other physically.
Yeah.
Like you are, it's like running, but it's like, it's not a headbanger. It's a more equalizing elimination. It could be anybody's game. That's something that Sophia could have potentially beat Jody. Whereas maybe if it was like a wrestling match, Jody might, take her. So, you know what I mean? I don't know. It was just, it was a good elimination that wasn't totally just geared towards like one type of person and their skill.
Yeah. And they basically lit these balls on fire. They had like fireproof gloves, and you had to basically run up to this tic-tac-toe board and try to get 3 in a row before the other person. So like, if you get to the middle first, obviously you have a lot more options than if you aren't able to. But also it's the trying to remember like where the best place to go is, because as we saw, both reasons why people lost were because they didn't see the moves that they should have made.
It was essentially like a brain fart, and then they went, oh no, and then they were like, oh, I could, if I run maybe faster, I can fix this. But obviously they already had paused and the other people were already on their way. So it was pretty much done.
Ryan basically missed an opportunity to block Kohuta's third ball. And I think Sophia did a similar thing with Jody.
Similar thing. So it was like kind of sad too, because it was clearly, it wasn't like a moment of like, it was literally a moment of like, just like a quick mistake and you can't change it. Mm-hmm. So it's like once you went, and they
also had no time to recalibrate, because it's like if you stop, like you're done. Like they have like 10 steps, 15 steps ahead of you now. Exactly
what happened. So it was, you know, they both played good, but ultimately Cohutta and Jody won. I'm like, another one of my favorite gays has to go home so early. I was pissed. I was like, they better come back. But listen, the way that they were talking about it, there's another season. Mm-hmm. There's another season. I hope this just stays as like a staple. It doesn't have to even just necessarily be on Paramount Plus. It could be on whatever, go back on MTV, but like as a staple, like it's a, what do they call it? Like a spinoff of the original version of the challenge.
It's technically not,
all stars, and like just keep them going for as long as people are willing to watch, because there's going to still be people from the new one that get older. Then you can pull them over here. Then you have two ways of bringing people in, and you have people that can leave for a while and know there's an option for me when I'm older to come back. And listen, it's giving everything you want from this show. These shows, like the All Stars is where it's at, and I haven't said that about many TV shows doing All Stars these days.
I wonder if they'll bring like CT into one of these All-Star seasons.
I would think so, but I also feel like he's just not ready to stop on the regular one. So there's no real reason to put him over there, although they did let Darrell and Anissa. So I don't know.
I felt kind of disappointed, not in like that like the elimination was bad. It's just like
it was short.
And like also the two people who went home, I didn't really think like deserved to go home. And it's not that I wanted Jody or Cohutta to go home either. It was just I don't want anyone to go home.
I literally didn't like any of the options.
No. Like even if it was like MJ and Janae, I was like, I mean MJ, I don't really know, but like I didn't want Janae going home either. So
so it was like all the options to be voted in. And then the people that ended up there, like I didn't want anybody to go. So it was just like heartbreaking to watch. Like there's certain people that I like. The whole cast is giving what it's supposed to give. And, you know, the options that could have been put in there of anybody besides, you know, the life shield holders. There's only a handful that I be okay with going down there. And wasn't any of them.
Tyler better not go home episode 3, otherwise that's all the gay people gone.
Hate crime. I'm pissed. I'm gonna be fucking pissed. He better not even be voted in, I swear to God. Because I was like, when I heard Ryan at first, I was like, no, it's not gonna now be Ryan. Like Derek goes, then Ryan goes. They're friends. They're both like small gay guys. Like, what the fuck?
I spoiled myself on accident because I had opened up Instagram and I saw Ryan's story and it showed his like exit interview. And I'm like, why are you spoiling it? Like,
probably had, I don't know, did it already air on? Well, because it
was already technically midnight, but I'm like, it was like 8 a.m. I'm like, then when I watched like the beginning and like they're showing Ryan and like the little like that he has, I'm like, well, now I know he's going home.
And then highlighting Sophia so much, but also that could have went both ways, because they'll do that with something that's going to be drama later on down the road. They'll highlight them. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to go home, but yeah, it can be a very good inkling of, damn it, we're losing this person.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought Cohutta and Jody did both really good. Again, I really like Jody and I really like Cohutta, so it's not like I wanted them to lose. It's just I'd rather them not be going up against Ryan and Sophia.
Yeah, for sure.
But now Cohutta and Jody have life shields, so
Ayanna, you better watch out because people are not having it with you, and you're good. So it's like, I don't know.
Oh, we forgot to mention Nehemiah used his life shield on Tech.
Yeah,
So
which
they're
that was,
completely gone.
but then they didn't really announce it like that. Like they were like, the life shield was used. And I'm sure everyone knows because they talk or whatever, but it was like, they didn't say Nehemiah
I
chose
feel
to,
important. It was like, okay.
like, obviously Tech would know, obviously Nehemiah, Darrell and Tina would know. And I'm sure they all talked about it like they know, but it was weird. Like,
I don't think Tech was really in the running either. So like it was a little weird. Like Nehemiah was like, oh, you know, I'm the one that
took
was
them
the
out.
reason like Tech got sent in and like I sent him home. And I'm like, and
Well, it's
he's like,
also,
I'm gonna use the life shield on him. I'm like, he's literally not even in danger. So this is like a pointless, like,
yeah,
this
it
is
was,
like supposed to be like, oh, okay, we're good now, right? We're good now. I'm like, I'm not even in danger. Why are you using it on me?
well, that, and then it's also like, you were just in the last episode, like saying you're going to be cutthroat, not care about people, but then you're doing this when, like you said, he's not in danger. So it's clearly not to really help him. You're trying to act like you're nice again. And then maybe y'all get a handout later. Like, it was weird. He tried, but it was, I don't know, maybe it's just because it's
I don't know
Nehemiah.
why they decided to use their life shields. I'm like, you've had them for literally 1 week. Like you can't,
No,
you don't have. That's all they have them for.
yeah.
That's stupid. I don't
No,
like.
it's literally just for like that next week. You just earned it for that next week. Hopefully you don't need it. If your friend needs it, you can use it. And then now it's up. It's basically like, now it's up for grabs again. That's why Jody and Kahada got it. Or it would have been Ryan and Sophia. No, and unless they change the rules, that's how it always was.
Oh, I don't like that.
No, you thought it was like you can use it when you want, like a power in like Big Brother or
I
something.
mean, I knew it would have a limit. I didn't think it would just be like the next week, but
I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure it
know.
always was. I don't know.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I feel like, do we even really get a glimpse of next week much? It didn't.
No.
So I don't really know what's gonna happen. I do know that Jody is gunning for Tina, and I think
Not
everyone's
mad
not really.
about that. Happy
Oh,
about that.
you're not?
No, I like Jody, and Tina irritated me, so I'm like, you know what? Fine.
Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know what's gonna be the boys situation. I don't know, but I'm sure it'll be a great episode. I just want to see someone check Ayanna because I'm just can't believe I talked so highly about her to find out this. Like, I feel like I got catfished, and I'm
Mhm.
upset, and I want to talk to Neve, and it's not good right now.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm like, look at our last episode, how we talked about Ayanna versus this episode. It's like,
It's literally polar opposites. Couldn't have flipped faster and more complete, like 360.
but to be fair, we also barely saw anything. Like we saw her say, I don't care who I go up against, and then it was elimination. So like maybe she was just not able to show her pettiness. I
Them
don't
true
know.
colors, they came out.
Just in this situation though, like I hope it was just like this situation she acted like that. Because if it's
Yeah. If
gonna
not,
continue, I'm gonna get over it real quick.
yeah, I'm gonna be like, you need to go and don't bring this girl back. I'm done. I don't that shitty of a person on my television screen. I'm good.
Yeah, I don't care if you're a beast, like you're annoying me.
Yeah. So hopefully someone checks Ayanna, because if they don't, I might have to. In the meantime, if I don't pull my hair out, like, comment, share, subscribe.